About a month or so ago, I made a video talking about the best hunter build, and this was back when pulse rifles were extremely strong, specifically the 390 RPMs, giving you a 0.6 time to kill at all times. And honestly, back then, I didn't regret posting the video, but now that the meta's changed, and now that weapons honestly isn't as important at all, I need to make an updated video because there are a couple things I've changed within my build. As you can see, I have basically 0 weapons. I'm also running only 70 class ability and 70 grenade energy. The complete opposite of what I was using before too, since I had 100 discipline and I tried to get almost 100 class ability too. So why am I not using 100 discipline on Strand Hunter, and why am I using such low weapons now? First things first, weapons. Do you need to use it? Is it actually really good, or is it useless? It was broken when pulse rifles would 2-burst, but now that the only way to 2-burst is with legitimately basically 200 weapon stat, it's not worth doing at all. Some players can take advantage of it, especially if they're kind of sitting in the back and baiting their team, but in most situations, if you're playing the best of the best and you're trying to play as a team, not having health stat janked up to almost max is a complete throw. You can't help your team as soon as you get shot, and it lets the enemies just push up on your teammates as soon as you're weak. A lot of you guys aren't using that specific pulse rifle anyways. I'm talking about the last Thursday in case you're wondering. I said pulse rifle, but I haven't specified. Specifically the last Thursday with elemental honing on it. There are a couple niche things here and there. For example, being able to 2-tap with a 120 RPM hand cannon with kill clip. That within itself, honestly, it's quite useful, and you only need to run around 130 weapons for that. But if you're using a normal 120 RPM like Igneous Hammer, or if you're using a normal 140 RPM like the Exalted Truth, having weapon stat is not useful at all, considering you can use something like PI, which gives you extra damage just for hitting normal headshots. And on top of that, we have Fever and Chill and Radiant Shrapnel this season, just giving us extra damage on top of that for free. The one thing I did really like though is the 10% extra handling and reload speed from just having 100 weapons. That felt good, but let me tell you, having 180 to 200 health stat feels much better than having just a little bit extra handling. I'm showing you guys the difference between 130 health and 195 health, or even just 200 health in the background. And the difference is insane. I was running around 130 health with my previous build, and I thought it felt pretty good, but this is just out of this world. You're regenning before the enemy team can even think, and you're already back in the fight. So long story short, unless you have a very specific weapon you're building weapon stat to focus onto, I would not use weapon stat at all. I would just completely ignore it as if it didn't exist. You can have around like 40 or 50 because you'll notice that like 4 to 5% handling increase, but don't go above that. It's really not worth it. Now, as for grenade ability and class ability, I was running 100 grenade or close to 100, and I was running close to 100 class ability. This recently changed to 70. I know some of you guys might be wondering why, and that's because the difference between 70 and 100 is 2 seconds. And no, I didn't say that wrong. You heard that right. It's 2 to 3 seconds. I go from 41 to around 39 to 38. Sacrificing 30 stat points for 2 seconds of charge time is an absolute no-go. I would never do that if I had just been paying attention before. I definitely wouldn't have been doing that. Now, of course, there is another benefit from having the grenade stat, and that's the grenade energy stat. You get more energy for getting kills and stuff like that, and that is true especially if you're using the fragment thread of generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. I'm actually getting less energy now since I'm not using 100, but I'm telling you guys, it's almost unnoticeable. But there are definitely some builds that require 100 a grenade, for example, like Young Ahamkara Spine, because every time you tag someone, you get that extra energy from that, and it would be kind of a throw not to have 100. But if you're not building into anything super specific, like I said before, I think having around 70 is completely fine, because for the most part, the charge time is going to be essentially the same thing, for 30 less stat points. And the same thing can be said about the class ability. We're talking around 2 to 3 second difference for 30 stat points. Definitely not worth it. And that's why I'm hovering at around 70 for both of these stat points. I try not to go above 70 just because it's a complete waste at that point. And of course, Intellect, you got to run 100 Intellect or close to 100. Intellect's the one thing that hasn't changed. I still think you need to be running close to 100 to get your super, because if you've been playing Trials and you don't run Intellect, it sucks losing matches to people who are doing worse than you, but have their super ready and just end up winning the game because of that. Trust me, this thing is still really important. And strength, I don't care about my melee, so I just don't even bother speccing into it, but I am using Gambler's Dodge now to get a little bit of melee charge, just to help me out a little bit, since I'm getting mine every 2 minutes otherwise. And that's basically my new hunter build. That's why I switched off of weapons. I do apologize if you only been speccing into weapons stat because of me, but the meta has changed and you gotta kind of keep up with it. And I think a lot of you guys noticed that I'm not using weapons anymore either, and it's mainly for the reason that I'm not using any weapons that need it. My Igneous Hammer definitely doesn't need it. My 140 RPMs don't need it. My Redrix or Badler pulse rifles could technically use a little bit of weapons at about 110, but it's so minuscule that I don't even bother running it either. If you haven't tried using above 160, 170, 180 health, I'd recommend trying it out. It's insane how overpowered it is in comparison to the lower end of health, and I've changed my opinions on it completely after the past couple weeks. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, since it is really important, how about the armor set bonuses? What am I using and what do I recommend? I know a lot of people have been talking about Bushido, because Bushido gives you a free health just for getting a kill on a freshly drawn weapon or a freshly reloaded weapon. I'm currently running the Iron Banner set and the Trials of Osiris set. If you don't use special ammo, don't plan on using special ammo, the Trials of Osiris set is completely useless, but if you do, it kind of spawns health packs for you. Every ammo brick you pick up heals you, and it's pretty generous for the amount it heals you for. I don't know the exact number, but it's pretty good, and if you're generating a lot of ammo, which you should be after watching my last video, running ammo generation mods and ammo finder mods, you'll be making quote-unquote health packs a lot of the times, and this works a good amount in Trials too. You might not think it does, but it's pretty clutch. And of course, the new Iron Banner one, as your health gets lower, your weapons gain increased stability and handling, and weapon final blows while your shields are depleted heals you. 2 armor set bonuses that heal me in different ways, and if you want to replace one of these, I'd probably replace the Trials one. Even though I really like it, I would never take this off, but I know a lot of you guys don't care for it. You could use the Bushido one since it heals you just for a freshly drawn weapon, which is technically, arguably, better. I was originally going to grind for the raid armor set since it kind of gives you an insane bonus for severing targets, but honestly I've gotten so used to having so much healing and so much health, I don't even care about severing the targets longer anymore. It's just not worth it, and you have to have 4 armor set bonuses for the raid one too. So it's not even close to being worth it. At least I don't think so for now. Anyways, I hope this was helpful for those looking for a new hunter build, or specifically a Strand Hunter build. Obviously, if you're playing like Void and stuff like that, you'd probably need a completely different build because you're going to be wanting a lot more strength at that point. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope this was helpful for those wondering why I'm not using weapons anymore.